That's horrible. Hello and welcome to the English Show, episode 3. My name is Stephanie from Beltran Brito, and I'm accompanied by my very tropical.
It's very cold in Miami today.
Oh no, I'm freezing.
And I felt kind of weird dressing like this.
But it's who you are.
It is. It is.
It's who you are. Look at what they gifted you.
Yeah, they gifted me a Santa Claus nutcracker.
So on brand.
With a tropical shirt.
It's so on brand.
He's got looks like sandals and a flamingo, and he has a floaty, and he has a pina colada drink right there.
If you were wondering what Gil looks like on the weekends, there you go.
It's like that.
And if you were to grow out your beard, you've got enough white in there that you could pull that off.
Yeah.
You could have the look.
I could.
You know?
Yeah, that's a future career choice I'm considering. Is going to be.
Are you going to wear the fat suit, or are you going to put the pack it on?
No, I think I'll pack it on.
Pack it on.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's a lot funner that way.
You're of the age. Why not? Like once you get to that point, why not?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So today we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different topics, but the main topic is going to be marriage-based interview type of questions. We're going to either get into it halfway in the show, a little bit sooner. We'll roll with questions. But I think, and the reason we're doing these episodes kind of in an episodic format versus more of our traditional just lives. Yes, we're doing it live, but we're doing it with episodes so people could easily refer to episodes. Hey, look at episode 3 where we were talking mainly about family-based petitions, and we're talking about the marriage interview process and the questions you're going to be asked. Do you want to get into it, or what do you want to do?
Let's go straight into it.
Oh my goodness. Look at
we
me.
are episode 3. Should we also just like give another teaser of who we are?
Do people not know?
I feel like people know.
People know.
Fine. You can ask your immigration questions live, and we will answer your immigration questions live.
So we usually do a Spanish show.
That's where we're more commonly seen.
And we decided we should do the English show.
And for two people whose language spoken is better in English, we're so much better in Spanish.
I'm much better in Spanish doing this at immigration
but we're having fun.
In English. But it's a learning process. I would say 10th episode, I'll probably be good.
Yeah, we'll master.
Yeah, I'll be into the immigration English swing of things again, and we'll go from there. But anyways, let's go right into marriage-based interviews, okay? And one of the things we're going to focus on is actually what they actually ask. What are the real things that are being asked? And we're talking about this today because this is one of our more popular topics that we discuss. Like just statistically, the most views, the most, clicks, reproductions, everything, sharing is on the video, the family base and the marriage video. So obviously people really care about this. Why do you think they care so much about it?
Oh, these are all real marriages, so I don't know. They shouldn't be too concerned, but I'm sure it's stressful to have to sit with an officer,
Yeah. Oh, it's very stressful. I imagine applying for a visa, it's stressful at a consulate, applying for a green card through USCIS. But Steph, let's get right into it. So
you want to give a little preview?
Sure.
I-130
Sure.
form? Okay. So you're starting your marriage-based petition with a form I-130. Form I-130 is basically what you're submitting. I think I'm looking at the wrong place. That's the form you're submitting in order to say that you're going to be petitioned by your U.S. citizen spouse or permanent resident spouse. You can be petitioned by a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen. However, if you're petitioned by a permanent resident, it is slightly different in the timing of the way things are done and in the ability to be able to present your petition in the United States. You can do this process in the U.S. or at a U.S. consulate. We're mostly going to be talking about the interview in the U.S. Keep the caveat that if you do it at the U.S. consulate, then typically it's only the foreigner who's at the appointment. The spouse does not have to be the appointment. Like the U.S. citizen spouse
foreigner
does not.
We're going with foreigner?
Foreigner, yeah.
The beneficiary.
The beneficiary. Okay.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. The foreign beneficiary, the U.S. citizen is not expected to go to the other
I've never encountered that. I understand that it's always possible, but I've never encountered a situation where they're required, the lawful permanent resident spouse or parent or whoever it is. They're not necessarily. Well, no, I just haven't had a situation where they had to attend the interview at the consulate. So really, our kind of what we're discussing today is going to be about USCIS and what goes on in interviews at USCIS local offices. For example, the ones here in Miami or whatever city you live in the US. Not every city is going to have a USCIS office close to them. Maybe they're going to have other places. Obviously, Miami, you have a ton of people applying for green cards. There'll be other states that not necessarily, maybe they're sharing, you know, Virginia, Washington, D.C. There'll be that situation where maybe the USCIS office isn't particularly close to you. But we're talking about that interview, and we're talking about what happens. As Stephanie articulated, you file the I-130. It's going to be the marriage-based petition. This interview, sometimes it's labeled as an I-45 interview, but it's really an I-130 interview. Okay, it's about the marriage.
Right.
Okay, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. So let's get right into it. So number one, what they're trying to figure out is, do you have a bona fide marriage? Okay, what's a bona fide marriage? That's one that was not entered into for immigration purposes. So at that interview, you may be asked the question, why did you marry your spouse? And if you say, so she doesn't have to leave the United States, you know,
let's talk about that, because
Yeah.
there's people who are in a real relationship who speed up marriage for immigration purposes, and they're like, that's normal. That's not the answer they want to hear. Do not say that.
I don't want to say that.
Absolutely not. They're not looking. That's a very clear distinction. They're not looking to see it's a bona fide relationship. They're looking to see it's a bona fide marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could be in a real relationship, great. But if you rush the relationship to marriage for immigration purposes, then that is not a bona fide marriage.
Yeah. That's the point, right? Like, was this done to circumvent U.S. immigration laws, or was it, you know, or was it done because I really love this person, I got married, and then I went ahead and I petitioned? And hopefully you are in the latter category of person. But the reality is that, let's say, I imagine there is a percentage of cases out there or people watching this that may be doing this for immigration benefits.
Right.
That person needs to be extremely careful.
Correct.
With how they're managing things and how they're doing things. Obviously, we only condone and promote marriages that are real for family-based purposes. And excuse me. One of us here in the studio today may or may not is on the fence about it, but one is very strictly, hey, we have to go with legitimate things. It just, the truth is, Steph, that it's the number one, it's the proper thing to do. And number two, attorneys are required to do that. Listen, like for a couple $1,000s, I'm not going to commit immigration fraud.
Right.
Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, I just like, no, thank you. You know, do people do it? Sure. Are people in desperate need of their situations? I get it. I understand. If you could avoid that trap, I would definitely avoid it. And I know we're getting a little bit far away from the immigration interview questions, because I tend to talk a lot and go on a diatribe. So let me bring myself back. Consistency over perfection, Steph.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always saying, listen, it's really important to be consistent with your responses versus having to be perfect. What does perfect mean? Perfect means I'm trying to anticipate what a USCIS officer actually means by their question and what they want to hear. No. What is the truth of the situation? Even if the truth is boring. Hey, what'd you do? Did you do that huge lavish wedding without? No, we went to the courthouse with a couple of friends. Then we went ahead and we had a beautiful dinner, or we had a justice of the peace do a really nice ceremony in our backyard with our family, or whatever it was. Whatever the truth is where you're going with.
Right.
That's it. You know.
And then two things to that point. Another example that I like to give is and we'll go into this, how typically the questions are going to be revolved around your cotidiano life. You see how I only do it in Spanish? Your daily life. Your cotidiano.
I don't even know what that is.
Your daily life.
Okay.
The questions are going to be surrounding your daily life.
They're mundane.
The mundane.
Yeah.
So if the officer asks you, did you guys have dinner together last night? And you didn't, don't be in the search of perfection and say, you know, the officer is going to want a couple that eats dinner every night together. No, answer the truth. I had Chipotle on the way home and he had McDonald's at home. I don't know. He cooked, whatever it is, answer truthfully versus what you expect.
What's your go-to at Chipotle?
Typical,
what's
my
the
God,
go-to?
the 3 soft tacos carnitas are so
Dude,
good.
they see you coming. They see you coming through the door and they're like, do it.
Got it. And then the other thing that it may be on a future slide, so I may be jumping the gun a little bit as far as consistency over perfection. If you do not know the answer to a question, I'm going to give my example personally. I do not remember what a partner gives me for Christmas. I don't remember. I have horrendous memory for like birthday gifts, Christmas gifts. I don't. It is better for you to say, I do not remember, even though you think the perfect answer is to be perfect and be able to remember all these things, versus say something and then your answer be inconsistent with your partners.
Yeah. And what we're talking about really is what happens if you're at an immigration interview and you're separated.
Right. That's why I was saying we were probably going to go get that.
So if you're separated,
oh, wow.
particularly, yeah, I brought up the slide. That was me. Yeah, I did that. Okay. Because you wanted it. That's what you asked for. It's okay to say, I'm not sure. So what, if you don't know the answer to a question, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember. You don't have to remember everything.
You never remember what I gave you for Christmas.
I would never remember that. No, because it's just like one of those things. I remember very important things. I don't remember very kind of like day-to-day things, you know? So the reality is most people may be like this. So I think it's perfectly fine. The issue becomes, she said black and he said white.
Correct.
Okay. That's a huge problem. I've been in that interview. Okay. And it's like, literally they ask what they had for dinner last night. He's like pizza. She's like steak.
Right. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Versus pizza. And I don't remember, even though it would be weird to say you don't remember the meal from last night, is not an inconsistent answer. So they can't flag it for inconsistency.
I mean, maybe they don't like that you don't know, but they can't say you were lying.
Exactly.
Like I just like, and by the way, maybe you're not lying. Maybe your memory's just a little bit off and you're like, oh no, did I have steak or what the hell did I have? You know, like I could see a situation like that. So let's go back to the interview. Consistency over perfection. Obviously, we're going to focus on the shared life. What does the shared life mean? The shared life means everything you can document of a shared life. Lease agreement together, tax return together, bank account statements together. We want to see insurance documents, insurances together. For example, health, car. If you have a life insurance, that's a bonus. If there's a will and the person's the beneficiary of it, that's a bonus. If you have children together, yes.
Huge bonus.
Huge bonus. You might not even have an immigration interview. Like I was talking to a gentleman yesterday. He has his green card. He's got unfortunately separated from his wife. And I was asking him, about his immigration interview. He says, no, I never had an immigration interview. I just got my 10-year green card because they have 3 kids together.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So they just gave him that's it. They have 3 kids together. So obviously that's a bona fide of marriage. So the shared life is something they're going to go over. One thing you mentioned and you alluded to, Stephanie, is knowing the mundane, the day-to-day. You need to understand and you need to sit with your spouse and say, Monday through Sunday, since we get up in the morning till we go up to sleep, what does an average day and week look like? Okay, they ask these mundane questions, such as who gets up first in the morning? Who cooks breakfast? Who makes coffee? So, but
does he drink coffee in the morning?
Does he drink coffee in the morning? Like, you know, you have these old school questions that everybody's afraid of. What color's the toothbrush? I don't know my wife's toothbrush color. I know my own toothbrush. I'll be honest with you. Well, I'm colorblind anyway. So I really have no idea what color my toothbrush is. But my gut tells me that what you think that they're going to ask you is not really what they're focused. Like they know that's what you're expecting. So they're going to ask you things a little bit different. I had an interesting one that they're like, when's trash pickup?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know when trash pickup. Like I just put it there.
Me, it's Tuesdays and Fridays.
Like I know it gets picked up.
Yeah, right. It's Tuesdays. I'm Tuesdays and Fridays. You know, I've had that question, or they ask, "Oh, are you religious? Oh, okay. Do you celebrate holidays? Do you say so?" I just think, Stephanie, that if you're in a valid marriage, these are things that should kind of flow out of you. Boom, boom, boom. But if they're not, it's okay. And you're just going to stick to your guns of like, I'm sorry, I just don't recall. But let me tell you, if they're asking her parents' name and you're like, okay, I don't recall, kind of go over the musts.
Okay, let's discuss the musts. But I want to remember that I want to talk about addresses. So we'll come back to addresses.
Yes.
So the musts are parents' names, sibling names, birth date, marriage date. Must. I want all dates memorized and all important family members' names memorized. Am I missing anything? Dates.
Important dates. Important dates. Okay. You also should know again, being in a lot of interviews, this is a common question they'll ask. Holidays. They'll ask about holidays. They'll ask, for example, if your interview's in March, Valentine's Day just passed, they're going to
What'd
ask
you do for the holiday?
what'd you do for Valentine's Day?
Right.
If you did nothing, just say, we did nothing. It's perfectly fine.
Exactly.
Don't create this whole fiction of chocolates and roses.
Don't create perfection because you think the officer wants perfection.
Yes. So that's what we're going to avoid. We're going to stick to. So what'd you guys do in the holidays? I went to my family's house. Okay, great. You just opened the door. What family's house?
Mm-hmm.
Whose house?
Mm-hmm.
The uncle's?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's the uncle's name? I really don't remember. What'd you guys do? We roasted a pig. We did this.
Cajachina, baby.
Cajachina, you know. So if Americans are watching this, they're like,
what?
What? So this is what happens. Cubans, especially, and South Americans, Puerto Ricans, they like to cook pigs, which we call lechon, in this wood box with metal in the fire on top. Stephanie, I don't want to pat myself on the back.
You are a champion.
But
we could put it on the show.
I actually won a trophy for
episode 3,
a cook-off pig roasting competition. Yeah. I won.
Now that's documented in
history. I did win. I was the best tasting pig. Yes.
He promised to bring lechon, and then he came and he was like, "Oh, sorry, there was none left."
So, what did you do in your holidays, the most recent holidays? What did you do for your birthday? Just very, very basic things like that is going to go a long way just in the prep. And you should be prepping a couple weeks before the interview and going over it. Don't stress yourself out. It's okay. Your interview might be 20 minutes or it might be an hour and a half. And that's absolutely the truth. You're going to prepare for the worst, but you're not going to drive yourself nuts about it. Very likely, it's going to be pretty straightforward. The most important thing you're going to have going for you is the documentation. If the documentation isn't solid, or if they're seeing, Stephanie, you're going to talk about this now, disparities, for example, in the address. Talk about the address disparities.
Okay. I wanted to mention the address specifically because in my last 2 interviews, that has been the hot topic.
Go ahead.
So my last 2 interviews have been, give me as much documentation that you have to show that the addresses are the same. Why has this been an issue? Because lately, we're talking to you 2025, the marriage interviews are coming fast. I'm talking, we're applying for a petition, and within 2 to 3 months, we have the marriage interview.
Just got another one today.
Super fast.
1 month after filing.
Exactly.
Yep.
So because of this situation, oftentimes the part of the relationship hasn't been very long, right? Because they recently got married. So the officer has been very particular in asking me evidence of a shared address. So number 1, I want the driver's license at the same address if that's at all possible. Okay. Sometimes we know that the DMV is difficult and they are not giving driver's licenses to certain individuals who don't have case receipts. So if you don't have the driver's license with the same address, do not take that driver's license. I want them to be the same or do not take them at all. Number 2, I want, if the person is on the lease agreement, fantastic. But if, let's say, partner 1 owns the house, so there's no need for partner 2 to be on the deed because they own the house when they got married, at least have other things. So what I recommended to this couple who was fairly new, completely honest relationship is I want every single Amazon order. Every single Amazon order that has gone to the address.
How random is that?
Yeah, because it's like I'm ordering a ton of stuff on Amazon. I'm sure they are too. And they had all the Amazon receipts, her name, his name, going to the same address.
Such an interesting move.
Her Revolve clothing orders, her Shein clothing orders. I was like,
for you. Good for you. That is an excellent. That's an excellent tip.
You never give me my flowers.
You give it. Let me tell you, like, people should note that.
Yeah, like all of your order, because that's what we have nowadays, right?
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That, and then try and put him or her on the utility bill. I do like doing that. Try and put him or her on the phone bill or the electricity bill, or put the bills, at least some of them, in the name of someone else. What I'm trying to say is that the stuff that proves the address doesn't have to be in both your names. It's that each of you have things in your name going to that shared address. So it doesn't have to be Jane and John address. It has to be some stuff to Jane to that address, some stuff to John in that address.
You mean Jose and Juana?
Jose and Juanita.
Okay.
But yeah, so addresses, that's been a really big topic. One other topic that I have seen lately, it's becoming less and less common that partners, real life, okay, have shared bank accounts.
Very normal.
Because of Zelle and Venmo and these easy ability to send money to each other, people are just sending money to each other versus opening shared bank accounts, right? That's what I'm beginning to see in these relationships. And I have seen it at the last interview that I saw. The officer made that comment to me. He was like, honestly, shared bank accounts is just not even something I see anymore. So what they're seeing is the transaction history. So sometimes I'm taking the bank statement and showing the transaction history that I have a history of Zelle payments or a history of instant payments to my account from my spouse. That's helpful.
Is really the money flowing to you pretty much exclusively, or is it flowing to, because in my house it flows from here out, like it's just like
exactly.
I'm not gonna have the back.
Someone will have the back and forth, you know.
It looks like I'm paying her to marry me. Like,
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
No. It's like, listen, especially if you're sending a set amount, it's like, okay, that's for the mortgage, that's for the light. That's, you know, it becomes more common.
Of course,
but don't be too concerned that you don't have a shared bank account. This is what people do.
Yeah,
it's just not as common.
It's not as common anymore. It's actually a good point. To have an account that has $35 in it and no movement just because it has your two names on it, please don't do that. It's useless.
Absolutely useless.
I do like there to be a house account if possible where shared money goes into and expenses are paid. I think it's a very good way to organize your life anyways. But on top of that, it's great to be able to show that exact point which you're mentioning.
Gil Brito providing finance advice and immigration
this is not financial advice, but listen, if you got to get yourself organized. Okay. Let's go to, obviously I like this point. Photos with context. Okay. Dates, people, who's like anything you're giving them that is a photograph, you better know when that was, not the exact date, but more or less. Okay. Oh, it was vacation. It was the day we got married. You should know the day. It was the bar mitzvah we went to. It was whatever, a communion, like, hey, this is a wedding that we attended as a couple. You need to understand what is the day in the event. You need to definitely understand who else is in the picture. Please do not provide a picture that you don't know half the people in the picture. Yes. I think it's weird. Yes. Okay. I think that's weird. And you know what's happened to me in an interview? They'll go ahead and the officer will go like, who's that person? Who's this person? Who's that person? And we're the ones that gave them that photo.
Right.
It's like, we wouldn't be in that mess if we didn't give that photo.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm just saying, it's like people bring albums. You need to curate the albums a little bit, in my opinion, in the sense of, I don't want a picture of you kissing on the couch. That's stupid. Okay. Sorry. Nobody wants to see a picture of
or topless in bed, which is a photo that you have received.
I have received two people naked under a sheet, the woman completely topless. And my question has always been the same. Who was taking the picture? Okay. And it was not a selfie. Okay. So that's always been my question. And I remember the case. The case is very memorable to me. Anyways, so let's be realistic. The times in life you're actually taking pictures. Yeah. I mean, we're a little camera happy now.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. We're a little camera happy.
A lot
hey, you gotta throw some selfies in there. That's normal because you're doing like whatever. But especially if you're like normal times, vacations, birthdays, family events, things that, hey, just a random pic here or there. That's fine. We're just walking the dog together and we're here with the dog walking him on the beach. That's a fine picture. That's okay. But if everything is that and there's nothing of you guys kind of looking like you have some sort of shared life other than, we go to Dolphin Mall and we take pictures around the fountain. You know what I mean? Who does this?
Yeah.
Who takes pictures?
I had a couple that was pure gym selfies.
Okay, but they're workout couple.
But they're working out together.
They're workout couple. But that's it.
And they like looked good. I was like, okay, this could work. This could work. They were fit.
Pictures, you don't have to go overboard. Get 20, 30 good pictures. That's enough. Ideally, something about the marriage as well.
Let's also mention, so you mentioned the thing about albums.
Yeah.
You can take an album. We always want them to take at least 10
loose
to 20 loose photos. Like, you get them at the pharmacy, the loose photos that you can leave with the officer.
Yeah.
Always take some separate loose photos.
There's an aspect of this that is really no longer touched upon in the interview, and that's a financial support aspect, which is indicating. So in this process, in the I-45, you're going to go ahead and file the primary I-130 applicant needs to show that they have sufficient financial solvency to go ahead and petition for their spouse or for any family member that they're doing. They're going to sign a document called the affidavit of support. Affidavit of support is going to be, attached with tax return, job verification letter. Ideally, if you own your own business, gets a little sticky. We have to take a different approach. Last 3 months of pay stubs and generally a W-2 and let's just call it 2024 tax return.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing has changed substantially at the interview before then, that should be fine, and you're not going to be required. If it's been a year and we have an updated tax return, bring the new tax return. I tell people to take take the last 2 months of pay stubs to show that you're still working. They rarely ask for that anymore, but I still like my clients to take that with them just in case.
Yep.
Okay. And then lastly, intent to reside. I think that point in particular, Stephanie, is important, but the intent to reside should be there by the day the I-130 is filed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I've had now in the last month at least 2 cases where one person was working in another state, but the primary residence was like Miami, but they were working for seasonal employment. Okay. They're working up north because up north had more opportunities for seasonal employment. And they're like, okay, what do we say at the interview? The truth. You're going to say absolutely the truth. You're going to be like, hey, there's seasonal employment. I travel for work.
Right.
I'm constantly doing this. So yes, this is our primary home where we cohabitate, but at the same time, we have lives that require us to, this is not that common, but it is. One person is studying university, wrapping up. They travel every other weekend to be with their spouse or partner. I've had that situation many times.
Take the travel receipts. That's really good evidence of the shared relationship.
The back and forth, the airplane
flights.
tickets, everything like that. This is something you need to sit down with your attorney and discuss and disclose and have just a short little plan on how you're going to go ahead and approach that. It's perfectly fine. So again, this is a situation where you're thinking, oh no, that's not okay. We're going to have to lie. We're going to have to lie and say we only live. Okay, but what happens if the W-2 has an address from New Jersey, and you live in Miami, and that's going to come up, So it's like, I just think it makes a lot more sense being completely honest about that situation in the petition itself, in the I-130, whatever. And they ask, are you living in a different address? They ask, where is the immigration interview going to be? Where do you prefer the immigration interview to be held, especially when you have 2 different addresses? Okay, Miami or New York or whatever it is.
Right.
So just keep that in mind that we put that there, intent to reside. But in my opinion, intent to reside needs to be completely established by the time you file that I-130.
I'm going to drop a real quick question here because I think it's useful.
Go.
Maria Sanchez asked, photos versus document, which wins? I'm of the opinion that it has to be a combination of the 2. Like, photos only will not get you anywhere. Documents only will not get you anywhere. You have to have a combo of the 2.
I mean, listen, are you even married if you don't have photos?
Yeah.
Like, you could not have a bank account together. Or maybe you're living at mom and dad's house and you're not releasing anywhere, but we need a letter from mom and dad that says that you guys live there and you guys are paying $1,000 a month of bills and utilities, or you're sharing expenses or something. Like, so I agree with you, Stephanie, 100%. That needs to be combo. Like, it doesn't have to be a ton of documents, but you could be a little creative with it. But photos?
Yeah.
You need
a combo.
Yeah, you need a combo. Go ahead.
Okay, what are we talking here?
I'm gonna hit a couple. You want me to hit a couple quick questions?
Antonio has a good one right there.
Antonio, business casual or formal? Does attire really affect officer perception?
Appearances are everything, Antonio. Appearances are everything.
I think you go there.
Don't go in the juicy couture.
I think you go there as you would go to a job interview. That's fine. I would say. Doesn't have to be super formal. You don't have to be a super suit and tie. Okay. If you want to, you can. But I think a job interview attire, is fine. I'm not a big fan of jeans and a t-shirt.
That's what I was saying.
Situation.
Like, definitely not shorts, please. Not formal because that's excessive.
Yeah.
But business casual for sure. And no shorts, like no sweatpants, no hoodies, like a job interview. That's a good idea.
That reminds me of a client we had who had a court date, and he went to court in this guy was a little overweight. He had a skin tight t-shirt on that said, "Don't worry, be happy," with a humongous happy face.
It's just not good. It's just not good. It's not good.
And I'm like, dude, you won the day. You won. Okay, let's go out of context, but I want to hit him up. Andres, I have an I-140 pending. Priority date is April 2024. Can I get AOE, adjustment of status without approval? Can I get an AOE? Can I receive a work permit and continue working while I wait for approval? What's your other non-immigrant visa status, Andres, please? That would be very good for me to know. Once I know that, I could give you a little bit better idea. If let's say you have a student visa and you're filing an adjustment of status and you get the work permit and you start working pursuant to that student visa, as Stephanie has detailed many times in our show, she does not recommend that. I generally do not recommend that, even though I find it hard to know how they're going to know anything if the I-45 has already been filed. But to be very conservative, I would avoid that situation. Also, keep in mind which type of I-140. I don't know why, Andres. I'm thinking it might be an EB2 NIW. Keep in mind that's a category that, you know, the uptick in denials a little bit in that category. So I think it's a little brazen if I don't have any other non-immigrant status and I'm filing the adjustment of status exclusively on an EB2 NIW that has not been approved yet. I think that is a mistake.
El máster del building. If I marry a U.S. citizen, should I stop my other ongoing immigration process? Okay. Technically, you can. At the moment of filing an I-45, you can discontinue another immigration process because at that point, you're fine, right? You no longer have to maintain your non-immigrant status. For instance, your H-1B visa, your O-1 visa, you no longer have to because you have a pending adjustment of status. Now, that being said, if you want to continue with it because perhaps you have a hesitation with your partner or your spouse, I've had situations where they're like, look, my spouse is, we're not having a great relationship right now. We're sort of in the trenches. So I sometimes tell them maintain the O1 just in case. But technically, yes. Technically, the second you file the I-45, you could stop.
50% of all marriages end in divorce.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you should 100%.
But they can't end in divorce prior to the issuance of the green card.
You should keep your other case.
Yes.
El máster del building.
Yes. Let's go with this one. This one's interesting. I might take this one. I've heard of cases where a U.S. citizen spouse uses marriage to control or humiliate the other person. What safeguards could I put in place to protect myself? I kind of like the question because I want to ensure that people obviously are not being abused, right? Obviously. But the reason I say it is as follows. If for whatever reason you are suffering abuse in your relationship, and it's related to this concept, that's right. It's related to the fact that a U.S. citizen spouse is sort of capitalizing on the fact that he or she is filing a petition for you, so they're mistreating you because they think you can't get away. You can get away. There is a petition called the VAWA petition, and the VAWA petition is precisely that. I have suffered emotional, physical, psychological abuse at the hand of my U.S. citizen or permanent resident spouse. So there is a way to still obtain the benefit, even if you are being abused. Do not stay in an abusive situation. I just wanted to make sure we said that.
Yeah. Also, I encounter that situation frequently. Yeah. I would add
a bit of blackmail.
I would add to that. If at any point there's absolutely any physical abuse, you must call the police.
Must.
Immediately.
Must.
It cannot be, he was drinking or she was just this or whatever. And it's like, listen, you're a victim. Stop being a victim. Okay. Call the police. Do not be afraid of the police because you're going through an immigration process. Who cares? Where are you going to end up? I had to tell a client the other day, I mean, where's this going to end? You dead because you continue to allow this? Right. It's like, you cannot continue to allow it. I made her move out. I said, you have to move out. I said, I can't let you continue living there. You must move out. So unfortunately, those situations do happen. How do you avoid that? I'll be completely honest with you. Make sure you're in a valid marriage that's actually for love, because somebody that loves you does not do that to you. And if they are doing that to you, they do not love you. I'm sorry.
Ooh,
okay? It's like that.
Love advice, finance advice, immigration advice. The man does it all.
That person doesn't give a bleep about you. I'm telling you. Okay. You also have self-worth.
Yes.
Okay. And you need to be like, no, it's not okay for me to be humiliated constantly. I would say probably have a conversation first, and they might just be like, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was doing that. I don't mean anything by it. I don't, or it could be a situation where it's actually abusive,
And then just keep in mind, us from our immigration point of view, there's still a way to do a petition and obtain that benefit for you. So don't be too concerned in that sense. Just an extra caveat.
I mean, I think the standard of proof for a VAWA case is relatively normal. Like, it's
So low.
it's yeah, I'm saying it's not a huge burden
Right.
to show it. Affidavits are important. It's important, obviously, to have a psychological report evaluation by a professional that's able to evaluate you and your mental state, especially if we're talking about any type of mental abuse. I think if you have physical abuse and you have photos, police report, we have a restraining order, we have, like all these types of situations, like which we do encounter frequently. Obviously that gives you a stronger, it's unfortunate that you're in that situation, but that gives you the ability to obtain a green card via the VAWA process. It is a little bit of a lengthier process, but it is there to protect you, and it is there to also offer you things like work permit and legal status in the US and all that stuff. Okay.
And don't think it can only happen to women.
Oh my goodness, no.
It
We've
can happen to
represented
men as
VAWA
well.
men.
Yes,
We've represented VAWA men.
And let me
Yes.
tell you, like real. Like I had one that I provided maybe 100 pages worth of text messages from her to him.
Wow.
And they were some of the most aggressive text messages I've ever read in my life.
Wow.
In my life.
And that's knowing your whole history.
I know. Crazy.
Okay. Let's keep rolling. I don't have the data. Do you have stats on marriage to foreign nationals? Who marries foreigners more, women or men?
No idea.
I don't know that. I have no idea on that. I know that the percentage of fraud in marriage cases is actually relatively low. I don't mean that's actually that there's not that many people committing fraud. What I'm saying is that they're not really proving fraud a ton on those cases. So when I mean relatively low, let's say the last number I looked at was like, every office has different stats, but let's just say it's probably around 10%, currently. The last time official I saw it was actually 6%. But who's marrying more? I would tell you, this is what I'm thinking.
I pulled the stats.
Hold on.
So
Before you tell me, this is what I think and the psychology of what we're discussing. Okay. That women do it more because they're better liars, and they convince these men to marry them. They convince the men to marry them, and the dude thinks they're getting married in 100% love.
How rude.
You think men are better liars than women? I disagree.
No.
Women are superior liars.
Women are superior at everything.
Okay. Well, I mean, but definitely lying is on there, is on the list on many things, but it's on the list.
So I unfortunately don't have very up-to-date statistics. The last statistics that was pulled was a census report in 2013.
A census report.
Apparently the census no longer asked that question.
Okay.
Interesting.
Good. Give it to us.
The foreign-born spouse was more likely to be the wife. You were accurate. 55% versus 45%.
That's actually big.
It's actually closer than I thought.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it's actually quite the, I would think it would be more 50-50. Like I would think it would be just statistically 50-50.
55-45.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Let's be honest.
We learned something.
A lot
That's
of people,
from 2013.
let's be honest. A lot of people want to marry women. Not a lot of women want to marry men. Okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about like in the demographic of person that's applying for this. So I get, we'll get a lot of people will be like, yeah, I've been in the US illegally, this or that. And I'm, my girlfriend is this or whatever. And it's like, it's usually men.
Yeah.
It's usually men. I think men have a tougher time getting women that want to marry them.
Yep.
That's why the proposal exists.
Exactly.
So anyways, sure. I just had to ask once.
You want to go back to the slides?
You didn't hear me.
What? Oh.
Okay. Back to the slides.
We talked about this. So knowing that travel history is really good evidence that the relationship is real, especially when you go visit each other back and forth, or like you take vacations together and trips together. That is really good. Work experience, knowing where your spouse works. I have had that question in an interview. Like, where does he work? Where does she work? That's definitely key.
That goes to the knowing everything Monday through Friday. Exactly. I'm saying Monday through Sunday, like who gets up to work? Where do they work?
Exactly. Where does she work?
Where does she work? What's the boss's name? Dude, who doesn't complain about the boss?
I have never.
Yeah. Who doesn't complain about the boss?
In my time of having a boss, I never.
Yeah, she complained to her mother like crazy about me. Her mother knew me so well. She knew me so well. She said, your mom came to see me, and she said to me, Gil, you are the best boss the greatest
That's
boss.
because I said so many things. So
You
many
said
good things.
you are the greatest boss that Stephanie's ever had.
Because I said so
And
many good
also
things.
the only boss she's ever had.
That is not true. Well, not that many. Anyway, work experience. So you know the mundane, you know the Monday to Friday. Education history. I feel like not as you would know. Yeah, it's not as common though.
Oh, let me tell you
It's not
though,
as common for them to ask.
I've been in the interview like, did your spouse go to the university? What is their degree in?
Man, I haven't
I've
had
been in that
offer.
interview
Yeah, there you
multiple
go.
times, and that's a good point because my client had no idea, like nothing. Like it was crickets. Oh damn! Did I just miss a golden opportunity? Sorry, I'm not hitting the. I don't know. I feel the Latin show. The Spanish show is more like
You have to turn it off.
conducive, more conducive to the more
audio.
conducive to the audio because I'm more slower, mundane in the English.
You're right. You're
Monotone.
livelier.
I'm livelier in the Spanish.
You're
show,
livelier
yes.
in the Spanish.
Sorry,
Because just naturally in Spanish, you're more lively.
Yeah, that's why we move our hips.
Let's talk about let's talk about just in case, because you alluded to this earlier, the potential separation. So let's talk about how first you're going to get to so just generally, right? Generally speaking, you're going to get to the interview. You're going to go through security. Think of like a security in an airport. They're going to scan your things. You go into this waiting room, pay attention to the waiting room for your number for when they call you. You guys both go into the interview. Typically, the beginning of the interview is verification of documents. So a lot of verifying the IDs, verifying the marriage certificate in original, ideally take the marriage certificate in original, verifying all of sort of the documentation you have in front of you. Please know that they have updated the way they handle these things. So a lot of these things are on the iPad. They no longer have the physical paper in front of them.
Correct.
There's like an iPad. They're going to have you sign and say you're saying the truth. They're going to have you do
swearing in.
They're going to have you do all that. And then at that point, you can have the officer that's going to begin to ask you questions. I always tell my clients, you have sort of two types of officers. You have the client who you want, which is the one who asks you questions point blank. And then you also have the officer that sort of sits back and just like,
lets you talk.
Tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the worst.
I hate that one.
That's the worst.
That's a tough approach.
Exactly.
Because people have a tendency to talk way too much.
Yeah. If you're in that situation, answer the questions very short and force the officer to ask you questions. I don't know, officer, what do you want to know? We got married in February. Like, keep the answer short.
You know what I had?
Force the officer to
Now
ask.
that we mentioned, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I had the thing where they're like, can you remove your rings to see if there was a
no.
Yeah, to see if the rings were just put on that
suntan?
Morning, if it had a suntan ring. Like right now, like I have a suntan here on my ring.
No way.
Yeah.
I have not encountered
I've actually had that question multiple times. I don't know why it rang a bell right now, but like listening to what you said, I was like, oh yeah, I've had that situation multiple times. Okay. Anyways,
I have had the real couple. I hate it, but the real couple who doesn't believe in rings,
which is
I don't
fine.
like it. It's fine. I don't like it. Do you like it? Like for them to go or her to have the ring and he doesn't?
But this
like I
just
don't
goes,
love it.
This just goes to the fact of what am I looking for? Perfection or truthfulness?
You're right.
So if I'm looking for truthfulness, it's okay. Perfection's fine. Like I'm okay with it. But let's just talk about a couple of red flags. So a short courtship. How about a short courtship? We knew each other for 6 weeks. We got married in Vegas. I was on a bender. I was on a bender. I was I had her blow on my dice. I threw it, and then the night became magical. Okay.
What is happening here?
Yeah.
But that's the truth.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But that's the truth.
I'm fine. So you get a lot of immigration attorneys that they'll say like, well, now you got to wait a year before you petition your spouse. I'm like, get the hell out of here. I'm not waiting a year. I'm like literally, I've had this situation. Dude gets a divorce on a Friday. Monday, we're at the office getting the marriage certificate or whatever. He had been separated for like 2 years from the spouse. Exactly. He's been with his girlfriend for like 2 years, a year and a half. And it's like, it's a legitimate relationship. It's absolutely real. So if it's absolutely real, what the heck am I doing? Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, I'm not the person. I am not the person that tells you to wait those 6 months to file, especially if you're not in legal status. Okay.
Oh, exactly. Yes.
How about age gap? Get that a lot?
We do get that a lot.
We do get that a lot. Yeah.
But it happens. Do you remember
I have 60-30.
Do you remember the couple that wanted to separate because of the age gap?
I'm sorry, the what?
Because of the like ability to have children and stuff. Do you
What?
remember that one?
No, what was that?
That he wanted to separate like before the interview because he couldn't have kids. Remember that one?
I don't remember.
Oh my God, we have to talk about
But
it
because
after.
he couldn't have kids.
He couldn't have kids.
Because of his age?
Because of his age.
I mean, men could usually have kids.
You know, a study came out that said that it's kind of been disproven that it ages almost worse than the egg, the quality.
Oh.
Yeah, a study came out like last week on it.
Wow, this is science research here now. Sorry, guys. We're going to post the PubMed publication links on the bottom so you can follow them. Anyway, so age gap, yeah. I've been there. I've been like 21-year-old guy, 22-year-old guy that is like a USC and she's like 45.
Yeah, I've had that one.
You know what I'm saying? I've had that one.
She's a cougar.
And it's like, and it was fine. They did great. And they got their green card. And everything it worked out because they went to the interview and they were totally normal because guess what? They're really married. Yeah. So that's easy. So age gap, I really don't care too much. We talked about different addresses and, be careful with something here called mail forwarding. Mail forwarding is a weird one.
It's just very obvious.
Yeah. So be careful if like if your mail is being forwarded to another address that's not the marital address, sorry to tell you, the U.S. government knows that other address that you're forwarding your mail to. Okay. I had this at an immigration interview, so I'll just mention it. The person had on his car insurance, like the mom's house, because he paid cheaper car insurance with that zip code than in the zip code
I have had something
of where
like
he had the marriage. And the officer's like, hey, why does your car insurance have a different address? He's like, oh, because I get a cheaper rate at my mom's house than whatever. Listen, that's called insurance fraud.
But the officer didn't care.
My officer did.
Yeah.
So my officer really cared about that. He says, you understand that you're speaking to a federal officer right now and you're giving testimony. By the way, we were being videotaped and we were being recorded. And I'm like, dude.
I mean, to be fair, he answered honestly. It was the best thing you could have said. I think it's the only thing he could have said in that situation.
But male is particular. Language barrier. No speaking no Spanish, but I love the Latinas.
Ooh, I've seen that one so much.
I want a Latina wife.
I have that all the time, actually.
You know what I'm saying?
Latinas are popular right now.
Not just popular. I mean, they're fantastic wives.
That's true.
Yeah. That's true. Cook, clean.
Okay. Brilliant.
Oh.
Stunning.
Okay.
Anyway.
Highly educated.
Highly educated.
Yes. Yeah.
You got it all. Let's see. Language barrier. Okay, that's important. If your spouse does not speak English or speaks English poorly, take an interpreter. But what's our number one rule, Gil?
Make sure the interpreter is legal in the U.S. Don't go with somebody that is undocumented to immigration.
Exactly. Interpreter doesn't have to be like an official certified interpreter. Could be anyone who has dominion of both languages, English and Spanish, or English and whatever. Number one.
We'll just run through a couple of these little ones. What do you think about the situation where your spouse, they just love getting married?
Oh my God, I had one like that. 4 divorces.
And yeah, I've been there. And
I have one like that right now.
And I've been at that interview and they're like, sir, you really like to get married. He's like, yeah, I just, and it was his 8th marriage. 8th marriage.
That's a certified lover boy.
So in the 8th marriage, I don't even know how I got myself into that. So I usually avoid that. Yeah.
Have a question that I think is relevant. You tell me if you think so too. Were they all to foreigners, or were over 50% to foreigners?
No, but we got about 3 green cards out of there.
Okay.
That's where I'm going.
Yes.
That's where I'm going.
Okay.
So I'm going with, I think it's material to tell your attorney if number one, it's asked on the forms. Have you ever petitioned anybody in the past, especially on the I-130 and technically on the affidavit of support? If you're still on the hook for that person, particularly, you need to put them as one of your dependents. So if that person is a serial petitioner of I-130 petitions, we need to be careful here, dude.
Yes.
Because the reality is that they're looking at you as somebody that gets married to help people get a green card.
Right.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of that. This is the situation where I allow that. Okay. This is where I would allow that. I would allow that if it was 10 years ago, you were married 10 years to the person, okay, and or whatever, 5 years to the person, you had 2 kids, and yes, you gave her the green card, but then you guys got a divorce, and now 10 years later, you're getting married to your new spouse. Guess what? That's life. That's perfectly fine to me. I have no issues. If you got 2 or 3 petitions under your belt
of 1 year long marriages each.
how about this? At least if they all got their green card, I'm fine with it. What if a couple of them didn't get green card because of they believe that the person was committing immigration fraud?
Do not be doing this again.
Dude, like no. Like, I mean, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying don't do it with me because I'm not going to do it.
I'm not taking that case.
I'm not doing that. Okay.
Yeah. I had one. The one I have right now is he's a lover, not a fighter, got married in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, and then now in the 2020s.
Wow. Bravo.
2 of 4.
Bravo.
2 of 4 he petitioned. So the
50%.
current one and the one 50%. But like it was your situation.
Yeah.
He was always married for like 5-6 years, 10 years.
It's just like I do know people that they get married a lot, and that's fine. You know, I think it's fine. Be careful how many people you filed for.
Yes.
And then we'll end it up with
always take the divorce decrees of both parties.
Divorce, all civil documents.
Yes.
Especially every divorce, if there's been multiple, you need to be careful. Hopefully your attorney paid attention to this because it's happened to us multiple times, but we always catch it before it happens because we're like, I just got married here in Miami. You go to the court, you get married. They only ask you how many times have you been married. They don't ask you to provide the divorce decrees. At least they didn't when I did, and I don't think they do that day to day right now, right? So whatever you say on there, it is. So then we get the case and we're looking at it and we're like, okay, but how many times were you married? Oh no, I was married 4 times. Okay, but you only put 2 here on this piece of paper, and that means there's what happened to the 4? So you have to get that marriage amended. Okay, potentially that marriage certificate, just as if it's a clerical error. But then you got to be. Here's the good one. The good one is, were you able to marry that person? Were you actually divorced from one of the spouses? So I've had the situation where they were married 3 times. No official divorce from the second person, got married to the third. The problem is the marriage for the third wasn't valid. And my client, who's number 4, wasn't valid marriage either.
Bigamy is illegal in the United States of America.
Yes.
Even in Utah.
Oh.
Even in Utah.
Really?
That's important. Polygamy.
You know what I learned?
Okay. So remember we learned that because they were in Utah. They were polygamous, which is normal in Utah, state law, but immigration is federal law. They were not cool with the polygamy. They were not cool with it.
Do you know that in Utah, I had clients get married. They were outside of the U.S. Utah married them virtually.
Oh, yes. I remember that.
And we used that as a real marriage. Yep. And they were, you know.
I remember I doubted you when you came to me with that.
I was like,
that's insane.
I was like, how do they? And then I say, okay, what's the requirement that it's a valid marriage in the jurisdiction that the marriage certificate is issued?
Correct.
Okay. So then, is that a valid marriage in Utah? It was. I think that stemmed probably from the pandemic.
I think it was COVID.
And
it was 100% during COVID.
And they kept it, and they kept it. And I'm not sure if it still is today, but we have people like, for example, one of the they couldn't get married in their country because of their sexuality. They couldn't get married because of the laws of their country. They were looking for somewhere that they could go ahead and get married. And then they're the ones that told me you could do it in Utah. And I'm like, wow, I really do learn something constantly in this business, and you're able to do it. And it was a virtual marriage, and they were in China.
Oh wow,
they were in China.
Crazy.
China.
Or their VPN was in China.
No, they were in China.
Maybe.
Steph, that was interview do playbook. Oh man, we got another slide, dude. Are you putting all these slides together, bro?
I do.
Are you doing it
on my incredible spare time?
Let's go fast through these. Let's go real fast through these. I can't really see it that well.
Arrive early, be calm, take your originals. No guessing. We already talked about that. Phone silenced or left in the car.
Leave the phone in the car,
I like
please.
leaving the phones in the car.
Leave the phone. I've been in there where they take the phones from the people and they look at them. Originals, take it.
I already went through it. You told me to go through it fast. I already went through it.
I stand corrected.
You already said everything on the thing. I have glasses. You don't.
Sorry.
This is a really good question before we go.
Yep.
Is it complicated for my future husband to adopt my children, or is it automatic? Does a stepfather have legal responsibilities toward my kids? More than that.
That's a family-based question.
That's a family-based question. Yeah. But let's touch upon adoption and stepfathers.
Okay.
Step parents.
So step parent, you do not need to adopt a child to be the stepfather of that child. Number one, to establish a step parent relationship for the purposes. I'll just give you an idea, Maria. I'm assuming, Maria, that you're the person that's the beneficiary of the case, or is it your husband? I just want to be sure. If it's you that's the beneficiary of the case, that's great. Your husband, as long as you were married to him prior to your children turning the age of 18, that creates a step parent relationship where he is able to file individual immediate relative I-130s for your children as well as yourself. Okay. He does not need to adopt them to be able to do this. Depending on their age, they may not be able to be adopted anyways. Okay. So it's adoption process, if we're talking about for immigration purposes, is a very complicated process that it's like Hague conventions and stuff like that's involved. There's a very particular order. You need to show that you've been together, I think, for 2.5 years. You need, it's very, very specific. And we only do that on occasions of a true adoption of a United States citizen adopting a child abroad. That's the only time I do adoption. In the US, there is an adoption process, so you go ahead and talk to a family law attorney. They'll guide you through that here. But if we're talking immigration purposes, he is the stepfather as long as the marriage was entered into before the age of 18 of the children.
And you can petition for an adopted child only until they're 16.
And 16 is the age for an adopted child, but only if they are adopted.
Right.
Yeah, but the point is, so you need to first adopt them to then go through that process. That's the issue. And I just told you it takes about 2.5 years.
And you have to file before they turn 16 too.
So you
have to both adopt and file before they turn 16.
So the point is, this is something you're doing to like a 10-year-old child.
Right.
You're not doing it to a 15-year-old child. Correct. Because I don't think the timing is not going to be great. Yeah. Anyways, that's a very complicated, loaded question. We're not experts on, we're not experts on anything.
We're experts in immigration. No, I'll give you that one.
I'm definitely not an expert.
You're an expert in immigration.
No, I'm not.
You are.
I don't use that term expert. I'm good at what I do. I know a lot of stuff. We have a lot of cases and we give good advice. But definitely not an expert. Talk to an adoption expert about that. It's really not my wheelhouse. Steph?
That's it? Is that it? That's not how you finish the show. I was going to say. All right. Next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, The English Show, episode 4.